everybody, and welcome to Tatter-a-fact, Girlz Inc. Studio, Las Vegas. And today, I get back with Michonne Shakes.
Hi, guys. She missed me so much, she had to have me on here again.
Yeah, like I don't get enough of you daily.
Lies.
But it's all lies. It's all lies. Yeah, so, well, the last couple, people like having you on here. People like you. Yeah, your podcasts are popular. Yeah, you're popular, Michonne.
That's cool. Is it because I'm brutally honest?
You are brutally honest.
Because of my looks?
Yeah, and you're cute. Well, didn't you say last time I would date us? I
would date us.
So the last couple of podcasts, is like I've had Kat on here. We've talked more like law of attraction, positivity, entrepreneurship, things like that. And I wanted to get back to talking PMU procedures. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, you're perfect.
Shoot, let's do it.
Yeah. So I gathered a bunch of questions that have come in because you, me, Girlz Inc. in general, we get a ton of emails, messages, DMs, even phone calls with questions, a lot of different questions.
Day and night.
So I jotted some down that we've gotten in the last week or two that I thought we would just shoot the shit about, go back and forth and talk about. So I thought the first one we would talk about is bleeders. Let's talk about bleeders. Yeah, love bleeders, right?
No.
So, and a question came in she'd been getting a lot of bleeders lately, and I think she was fairly new. Mm-hmm. And how do you control the bleeding? And so I thought we would talk about that. And then we're going to segue into another whole topic about bleeding. But let's start with bleeders and how to control bleeding. I think the first line in defense, if you will, bleeding is your epinephrines.
It's secondary numbing.
Yeah, your secondary numbing, using a really good epinephrine. Epinephrine constricts the blood vessels and helps to control bleeding. But now, you've been doing PMU? Is it 8 years?
I think
7 years. Almost 8 years. So as well as I do, there are some people, no matter what you do, epinephrine, all the everything, all the precautions, all the steps we take to control bleeding. Some people just bleed and there's no controlling it. I'm
one of them.
You are one of them. And I was kind of shocked. I think some people are under the impression that bleeders, they're either people on, vitamins or, these certain things that thin your blood. I know there was vitamins and supplements that can thin your blood.
Vitamin E can definitely thin your blood.
Vitamin E, or blood thinners, things like that.
Even dark vegetables, kale.
Yes, I do know that. So, but you don't necessarily have to be on supplements or vitamin E or be eating dark kale or dark green things or be on blood thinners in order to bleed. Sometimes people just bleed.
Yeah, it's just their skin. They're just juicy people.
And that's what we
call them.
That's
juicy.
what we call them. I know. That's what we write in our notes. Juicy. You were juicy. So you never know. You never know until you poke that needle in their skin and you get going on how that skin's going to react.
Oh, exactly.
And what it's going to do. I mean,
sometimes it changes throughout the brow.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes one brow will act completely different.
Oh, yeah. Totally different sides.
Than the other brow. The two sides can be completely different.
It's a new thing every day.
It's a new thing
every face.
Yeah. But that's one of the things that I love about PMU is it's never boring, and there's always surprises. Not all the surprises are always pleasant. Mm-mm. Sometimes some of the surprises are super stressful.
I like the surprises when you think they're going to be bad and then they just tattoo like a dream.
And they tattoo like a dream. So let's talk about predicting. I used to try to predict. Like, look at somebody and predict, right? Like, yeah, you're going to bleed. And then you lay them down, you start working, and they don't bleed at all. Their skin is like great and they heal great. Or you look at somebody like, oh, good Lord, I know she's going to bleed. She's going to be probably 2 or 3 sessions, and tattooed like a charm, healed, beautiful for a session. So the face can be deceiving.
Yes.
Right? Definitely there's signs to look for,
well, I mean,
indicators.
You thought my face was deceiving. You thought I was going to be a dream to tattoo. It was going to be the best. And then I'm over here just gushing blood.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a perfect example. I really did. I mean, I think maybe me and Amber arm wrestled for your face.
And then I was just like,
and then I'm all done. And I'm like, Amber, you can totally fucking have her.
she does.
Yeah. Do you still bleed as much as you did with me that first time?
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Still the same.
And
I still bleed with like all of my body tattoos.
You're
too.
like a gusher too.
So now that I get tattooed and I know that, I take oral arnica just for that reason, because I know I'm going to be juicy, whether it be blood, lymph, oil, anything. It's just going to happen.
So do you take vitamin E or any of these?
I don't take vitamin E. I don't take
you eat dark green.
Advil or Tylenol daily. I don't eat dark vegetables in the morning. Like, I don't do any of that.
You're just one of those people.
You're
juicy. One of those surprises.
Yeah, I'm a lucky one.
You're the lucky one. But so if we were going to advise like a newbie, somebody that's not used to bleeding, how to deal with bleeding, it would be first, make sure that you have a good epinephrine. But that doesn't really help or come into play until after the first pass. Mm-hmm. So during the first pass, if you have a really bad bleeder, it's like, there's a few things you can do. You can use pressure,
Pressure, definitely. Wiping constantly just to make sure your design's getting in.
Yeah, a lot of wiping. And try not to wipe rough.
Yeah.
But...
slow down your movements.
Yeah, slow down your movements. Sometimes, for me, when they're bleeding really, really, really bad, I don't necessarily try to get in a lot of pigment. I'll just kind of scoot across. I want to drop some pigment because I want my design to be there, but I'll just kind of scoot across so I can get that.
Just enough to get your shape in.
Just enough to get my shape in, and then I can get that secondary in, the epinephrine, and hopefully that works. And
sometimes it doesn't.
No, it doesn't, but usually it does.
Yes.
Usually it does work. It helps control bleeding. Sometimes it almost virtually eliminates it, I wouldn't say eliminate, but really gets it to where it's like, yeah, nice. And sometimes doesn't hardly work at all. And then everything in between.
Yeah. You just got to keep going.
You just got to keep going. It's just part of what we do sometimes. It's part of what we deal with. And it's not fun because as you're trying to put pigment in, the blood
out.
And and usually if there's blood, there's lymph, there's other fluids with it, and it's just pushing your pigment right back out, and it's diluting the crap out of it.
Sometimes lymph is worse than it being bloody.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's my advice for trying to control bleeding. Yeah. Use pressure, wipe a lot, a good epinephrine. And sometimes you just got to deal with it. And I'm somebody, I don't know if you're like this in your room. I think you are. I think you're pretty open and transparent with your clients. But I tell them, okay, you're bleeding a lot. Sometimes it makes them nervous. And I'll say, don't worry about it. It's just normal for some people. But I want them to know that they're bleeding a lot. And I'm struggling because that could mean they might not heal with a lot of good color.
I tell them everything, because that means you might not have as much pigment. You might heal with nothing.
Yeah.
Because your skin is, after you were done here, I've got that thing in there, but it's still pushing it out as you leave because you're still bleeding.
Yeah. So that's why, we don't have our clients put on aftercare for 24 hours.
24 hours. They are constantly dabbing their eyebrows every 15 to 20 minutes because we want to get all those juices off, the blood, the lymph, the oil, all of it. So it's not just sitting on top of there.
Yeah, exactly. And especially if they're like prolific oozers, right? And when they leave, I mean, they're going to be like you. I mean, some
blah,
people,
blah, blah, all the time.
you're weeping fluids. There's a ton of fluids coming to the surface for a few hours, sometimes a day. And I just want it to weep, come to the surface, have my client blot it off. Weep and blot, weep and blot. I mean, and it makes no sense to put ointment on because then all those body fluids, they get mixed up with the ointment, it gets crusty, and it's just so much better just to let them ooze and blot for 24 hours and then have them start their aftercare, their ointment, their balm, or whatever.
Plus that should help you get better retention anyways.
Yeah, it does help with better retention. Yeah. I mean, it's important to keep those weeping fluids blotted off. I always tell the client, I just did my job. Now I need you to do your job, you know.
Oh yeah. I give tests to my client afterwards. I explain things. I'm like, all right, we got a test now to see if you were actually paying attention to what I said.
Yeah. Cause sometimes they're not.
They definitely aren't.
And I always tell them, I'll know.
Oh yeah. If you do anything you're not supposed to, don't think that we won't know. Cause we will.
We will. Cause we know.
And me, I'll call you out on it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what Mary does? Mary follows them on Mary Richardson.
Oh yeah, we stalk you too.
Yeah, Mary does. She really stalks her clients on Instagram, and she'll take a screenshot of them at the pool or the beach, and she'll send it to them with a message scolding them.
I won't scold them, but when I see them at their touch up, I'll ask them like, "Oh, did you follow aftercare? Because I see that some things are not, okay." Yeah, I followed aftercare, and be like, "Oh yeah, what about this?"
Yeah, right. Yeah,
What's this?
Yeah, right.